Love is all is love is all love is all is love is all.
Hello and welcome to Pray Love. I have something going on in the background here. Thank you for joining us this evening. We come to you from Toronto, Canada. Hello, Dave. How you doing?
I'm very well, Deb. Very nice to see you. You've got a beautiful color to you today. I was wondering, what's the influence of the color?
That I haven't worn the shirt for a while, and I have in front of me, I have this old quilt from my Granny Tammin. And I look at that every day, and it has a variety of colors in it, but the dominant one is exactly what I'm wearing. And I don't know, there was just something about that connection. I was just thinking about her, and I just thought, I'm going to wear the shirt that matches the covering over my window.
What color is it?
This? It's like a burgundy, dark wine color. I've been away from Jordell Promotions there for a couple of years now. Otherwise, in the past, I could have given you the Pantone number.
Okay. Very nice. Well, it's very nurturing. It's almost the fire energy of come have a glass of wine next to the fire.
Thank you. It's one, I went years ago and I did the color matching, the skin and the eyes. And this was one of the colors that I was supposed to be wearing. So I love it. And if I had more of it, I would be wearing more of it. But I haven't been able to shop for over a year.
Well, let's start off with our lovely land acknowledgement. Yes. One of the things that I love the way that we were able to bring in Pray Love to the land acknowledgement. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabeg. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties, is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon, Wampum Agreement. Mother Earth, Father Cosmos, friends, family, ancestors, all enlightened beings, guides, and teams. Thank you for allowing us to have this time, and may we speak with truth, love, compassion, patience, and curiosity so that us, experience delights and joys. Thank you so much, Deb.
Thank you for sharing that, Dave. I think it's so important. We overlook the people that came before us. And I think it's really important. And that's one of the things. So with the people that came before us, so tonight on Pray Love, what we thought we would do is sort of do a little recap. Some of the highlights, maybe insights from the people that we've had on the show. And then also, what is it? The 9th today?
Yes.
I feel like it's in the summer. I feel like so much has happened and time is just flying by. How do you feel? Dave? Because you've been involved in a lot of projects.
I love the way that time is flowing and it's going and there's lots of growing. And so it's one of the things that I like to do is right now for March, it's Miracle March for me. And I'm extending the days. I'm purposely doing a little bit more in the morning early and a little bit more late in the evening, taking and honoring that nap or two and finding ways to really have a fullness of the days. And today was a blessing with the warmth that came. Tomorrow's supposed to be even warmer. And I'll have some wonderful pictures for tomorrow because I'm going on a little adventure also. So pretty excited about mapping, planning, yet also really working on being playful and focused. And so, and do you have any hacks or do you have any tips or do you have any strategies that are allowing you to enjoy your new dynamic life with a partner who fulfills your needs at different levels and brings
Four-legged
joy.
partner. Four-legged partner. It's interesting. You mentioned the hack. We had Gary on last week, and he was talking about his 7-day quest, and I jumped on board. So I've been spending 2 to 2.5 hours each day with Gary and his business partner Ross and a small group of other people, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been years since I've spent I say quality time with Gary, and it's been really nice to catch up to see where he is. So that's been taking a lot of my energy over today was the 6th day. And you talk about the morning. Listen, I'm all about the morning now. I'm just going to allow myself to be a morning person now, because Sage is still waking up. The latest he'll sleep is 7 if I'm lucky, maybe 7:30. And I'm just enjoying it. I'm learning to enjoy it. And what I'm finding is that I have so much of the day. I'm just going immediately, and that's been really charging my batteries. And every day is the same right now. I'm really structured. Like the dog needs the attention. And then I sit down and I study. I've been taking a series of courses since the end of last year, really. I'm trying to upgrade the psychotherapy and just really narrow down what my focus is in the profession, and starting late in that. And I just want to absorb as much information as I can. And I decided at the end of last year that that's what I was going to do. This year is really focused on that. So my days are pretty structured, obviously with clients as well. And lots of walk. I walk every day, like 4 or 5 times a day. I walk over an hour every day and then cycle.
Beautiful. Well, Sherry's got some great news for you. She's reminding you that this weekend is this shift of the time. So you're going to get an extra hour of sleep starting later this week.
Do you really think so? Because Sage is going to he's going to wake up with this. We're spring back. He's going to wake up earlier. Thanks for the great news, Sherry. Appreciate that. That means I just need to get to sleep earlier. See, this is the issue. It's not what time he's waking up. It's what time I'm going to sleep. And I try to squeeze as much into the day as possible. And I had about 2 weeks where I was turning in around 10:30, and then I reverted right back 11:30, and I need to switch it again. So thanks for the reminder. But I am napping. I never nap. And I'll power nap now. I power nap 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I'm good to go.
Well, napping is something that is, I loved it. I was introduced to it when I lived in Japan, and the salary women would rest their head on the desk at lunch hour and take a 15-minute power nap, and it would be great. And it's something that has stayed with me. I absolutely love it. Anytime I travel, I can get that power nap in an airport, get that power nap on the plane, and just absolutely beautiful to be able to influence the dynamics of sleep and power napping, and definitely love it these days.
Yeah.
Do you have a prayer that you do when you nap, or do you have a ritual that brings in energy from the multi-dimensional, the multiverse?
My prayer is Sage down.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Do you know, I don't have a ritual when I nap, because I really haven't napped that much in my life. I certainly have a ritual before I go to sleep at night. And I've been saying that most nights, probably since around 2018, 2017. Yeah, so I say that pretty religiously, and I usually do some type of somatic work. So, EFT, like a little tapping, or a little tapping just on the crown of the head there. Let's open the portal before we go to sleep, right? So it's just light tapping right on the crown, and I'll just say, just just a little something. I don't know if I want to, I'm kind of debating whether or not I'll share it, but I'll be tapping on something. Or since I started to do the havening work, that's also a touch. And sometimes I don't feel like doing the full on thing, but I'm a side sleeper. So I'll do a figure 8 again. That's infinity, opening up the portal. And just wherever I travel when I sleep, that's where I travel. So I just try to do a little something, a touch, a soothing, create some delta waves coming up, open a portal, open up my creativity, my imagination. I might ask a question if I'm looking for some answer, like, what truly is my purpose, and show me my purpose through my expression of sleep this evening, something like that. Like, it really depends. How about you?
I love the sleep process. The honoring of sleep is something that is so precious to me, mainly because in my late 20s, I went through almost death due to insomnia. And then I read and I've researched insomnia, and I noticed that it is a very major disease. Sure. And that sleep deprivation is one of the reasons why many people have different types of mental disorders. And it's been fascinating that when I went and studied how to sleep better, it was really amazing how it changed my life. It gave me back my life, because in many ways, by going through a month with the most sleep was an hour a night, it almost killed me. And I really became curious on ways to sleep better. And now I've got all these wonderful little hacks. And the latest has been the greatest, because I'm actually having a little conference before I go to sleep with Thoth. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Thoth, but he was the master record keeper of the Egyptians. Yeah, right. And so he is also the master healer. He's a word magician and keeper of wisdom. And so I have this little game that I'm playing with him right now. And as I'm going to sleep, I'm having a virtual meetup with him and inviting the divine wisdom with words, specifically the spells that can allow connection to occur at different levels. And when I went to Egypt a number of times, we would go to various Thoth places where you would see the hieroglyphs, and you'd see the way that he would use the energy, the vibration, and with the knowingness that words have such a power and have such an influence. So I've been really enjoying that at the beginning of this year.
Isn't that so interesting? Because people often talk about what they don't want in their life. When you say words. So we have this discussion. I don't want that. I don't. You ask somebody, okay, what would you like? Well, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. So they're programming those words, that experience, that reality into their life. If you believe this kind of stuff, which of course I do, we do, versus saying, you know what? Egypt is on my bucket list, and I'm on my way there. I'm in the process of being there. I can see the incredible structures, the history. I can feel it. I think it is so important. Words are so incredibly important.
Wait, and beyond words too. It's like, as you as a musician, as a poet, as an artist, this is such a beautiful thing. And I just received Jordan Peterson's latest book. And Dr. Jordan Peterson, if you would like to come on Pray Love, you have an open invitation. We would definitely like to have a discussion with you. I've sent it out to his Instagram yesterday. The book appeared on my desk because my son ordered it and sent it, instead of where he's at, he sent it here. So I've started to read it. And the second chapter has this beautiful picture that explains many of the things that you and I have been talking about with the hero's journey, the Shiro's journey, different symbolism. And it's just so beautiful because he brings it back into the mythologies. And he talks a lot about what Joseph Campbell does, but in a way that Jordan Peterson, as a scholar, does, yet brings in a lot of the symbolism, which is so beautiful, because that's a conversation I've been having for the last 6 weeks. And now this book has appeared, and it's engaging me at another whole level of 12 rules of life, which his relationship with rules is, there are rules to follow and there are rules to break. And when you break the rules from a higher purpose, that's when you know you're on purpose.
That's so true. Wow. When I think about fitting in a box, I can't even go there. So I think that's one way that I could actually be defined, is somebody who's broken rules along the way.
Absolutely. And it's the people who are the significant change makers that they know the importance of order, and they know the importance of rules, and they also know the importance that rules aren't set never to break. Rules are set that when you choose to be a change maker, many of the rules of the past actually need to adjust. And we're seeing a lot of that right now, right? We're seeing that with MJ stocks. We're seeing that with the different gambling that's happening. We're seeing that with a lot of disruption that is occurring, given that 50 years ago, this type of conversation, if we would have been talking that we're going to be face to face, people would have called us crazy. And if it was 100 years ago, they might have said they would burn us at the stake.
For sure, me. They might have just chopped you up, but they probably would have burned me. I would have been a witch. Yeah, for sure, right? That's Absolutely. True. You know what? One of the things I'm studying right now is DBT. So the type of therapy, and there's so much of what you just said that I'm studying within that program, because it's not just here or there. It's this and that. Actually, that's something that Gary's doing too. Gary was on the show here, like Gary with his hacks, right? It's like not that you have to do this or it's only that way. And that's why so many of the systems are breaking down. You mentioned some, I mean, politically, socially, I mean, the educational system, everything. And it's not that it's wrong. It's just that it needs to catch up with the times, and it's not serving us as we are now. We're heading to, we're going to this, am I going to say this, heading towards, a sixth mass extinction of the people on this planet if we don't shift some of those. And I hear a lot of people saying, I want to go back to the way it was. Well, let's go forward to the way it needs to be to have, a sustainable system for everybody, not just certain people. So I go off on a tangent on that one. I try to catch myself, but that's one of the things we're talking about a little bit in terms of the 7-day quest that I'm doing with Gary. It's just, hacking the reality and creating the reality that, that you'd like to have. Right. So let's talk about a couple of things. So, I mean, so far this year, Dave, so that's a little small up there, right? I'll just put it big for a second. The Global Day of Love and Oneness. We had that. We had Black History Month. And we also had Women's Day. So there's a lot that's been, how do I get out of here? There's a lot that's been going on.
That's great. We have things to celebrate each month. And I think that's what's another really cool thing to do is for some of us who would like to plan, you can take a look at an international calendar and notice that there's probably 57 international days of something now. And so you can choose which one might you energize, and then also be flexible enough to say which ones, if it happens and you're involved, you can get involved. And so there is a way to bring celebration into each month. Mm-hmm. The other distinction I'm also playing with is the moon cycle. I've really invited the We Moon Women's calendar into my life this year, where I'm playing with the moon each day and each evening and each way that it might be influencing. And I'm noticing when you do have retrogrades, hey, sometimes you get a little out of sorts. If I get upset about something, I'm actually curious. Oh, I wonder if there is a force of the moon. And so celebration is perhaps what you're sharing right now, is that every month we've had a celebration. What has been a major takeaway so far as we are now March 9th from January, February for you in celebration?
Well, you know what? I think it's really, there's two parts. One is watching some people that we know really stepping into a role, right? So like Voice of Men and Gwenda, who's on this program, like people are doing shows similar, well, not the same as what we're doing, but they're really stepping up And a lot of people are doing a lot of extra in order to promote kindness and gratitude, information in a healthy stream, right? So it's been wonderful to see that. And actually, I've sort of turned down doing a couple things because the celebration is also very individual for me. And it's, I started off the year by doing the music video, right? Hometown. That took a lot of energy, a lot of steam, because it was very, very emotional for me. And as you're well aware, being the cinematographer for a piece of that. And what I've been trying to do was to really focus in, for sure, the first half of this year is my time. I'm playing the guitar every day. I mentioned the other things that I'm doing is to really celebrate some of those gifts. And I'm juggling like that pathway of narrowing down what I am doing to really focus on certain things. And it's about, and Charlotte, who was on the program, I mean, the word with Charlotte is passion. Where is she? I just have a side angle for her. I mean, it's all about passion. And when she talks about that book that she's creating, the portraits that she's doing, we talk for like an hour before, an hour after, and she just has so much passion. And it's so much about doing what you love and loving what you do and creating more of that in your world. Why not overlooking the responsibilities that you have? But we don't have enough play and laughter in our lives. And I actually like some quiet time. I really do like doing some things on my own. And now that it is nicer, I mean, obviously I've got a couple walks out there promised to people, but it's being selfish versus selfishness, I think, is very different. And I think that I'm really focused on being the best I can be right now. It seems weird to say it. It does feel kind of strange to say it, but I think it's so important. If we all did that a little bit more, we could really bring a lot into the community.
In what ways does it feel or seem strange to say it?
Well, I think because it's a belief system when you speak about yourself and achievements, that has to do with ego. Mm-hmm. And there is still that. There's a link there. And, it's one of those patterns, and it just comes up. It's almost like, oh, I want to almost apologize for taking up that space, but it's like, no, I really love this. And when I'm passionate about something, I just dive in and do it. And I'm really grateful. I've had such an amazing support cast for many years, in the business that I was in for 30 years. I traveled different places around the world, cycled across Canada. I did so many different things because other people, I think, believed in me and really allowed me to do that and promoted me to do those things, right?
I would love to, as you're speaking, I'm almost seeing or feeling, experiencing the people that are on Pray Love today, and many of them love you so much. I'd be curious on what are they doing right now to also honor or to nurture or to be kind to themselves. So what are some of the things that Sherry is doing? What are some of the things that those people, Shelly is doing? And feel free to type in, folks, because you're hearing Deb share a little bit about she's taking that me time right now and honoring herself in March. And it's been cold, so some people will be being in a cave, the bear time. I've put on an extra few pounds, that's for sure. So it's a wonderful time to nurture. And I'm finding that right now that the old Dave, the type A personality, go, has been catching himself saying, take your time. It's no hurry. Take your time. Enjoy this day and enjoy this week. The next journey is going to come about soon enough. And you know what your heroes' journeys are like. It's going to be hell at times. So enjoy right now, please.
Exactly.
So that conversation is definitely occurring. And I'm finding the giggles in it as I reflect on the old patterns wanting to get up there and do stuff, as opposed to, wow, it's March 9th. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful International Women's Day celebration. Was there anything special that happened for you, International Women's Day? Was there a an embrace, or was there a pushback, or was there a neutrality? What was your experience?
Do you know what is so interesting is you'd think that that would kind of be something to me. But in all honesty, I mean, I certainly have an appreciation of that. But that has never been something that has stood out a lot to me. I certainly believe in equal rights, and listen, I didn't have role models that were women when I was a child. Not so much. I mean, there were people that stood out. I was a sports person, so Billie Jean King, she was somebody that stood out. I remember Amelia Earhart thinking, "Wow, this woman, did something really spectacular." Parks. Parks. First name's Parks. What's her first name? On the bus, taking your seat on the bus. Somebody type that in, please. What's her first name? That's awful. Those types of people, just such that had such rich experiences, and it didn't matter what other people thought. They did it. They owned who they were. So those people stand out for me. Obviously, equal rights. I've had to fight. I had to fight to play hockey. I wasn't allowed to play with the boys. I got teased. It's, refereeing. Why are females refereeing? What are they doing here? Martial art. What do you mean you're a martial artist? What do you mean you're in CrossFit crazy? Why are you doing all this? Why do you have these bruises from, I didn't have role models. So it is so important. Like in those areas, Veronica was on. Where's Veronica's picture? Veronica was on. She was one of the first people, but I was already involved in martial arts. She's been a role model to thousands of females and men. But that's kind of my way of saying that I honor the day. The Gatehouse put something out, and I was so honored to be part of Maria from the Gatehouse put something out with a bunch of women that contributed at the Gatehouse, and it was wonderful to be, acknowledged. But it's not something where I've done a lot other than just a quiet moment and thinking, yeah, we've come a long way, and wow, we have a long way to go. I have a question for you, Dave. So on Women's Day, did you have who did you have when you were younger? Like, were there women that inspired you in any way?
I feel I've always had a really wonderful relationship with women. I've been an incredible, loving student of the divine feminine, the divine masculine. And so the one that has really had an influence was Mother Mary. Mm-hmm. And then when I experienced Mother Mary in Italy, when I went to the Vatican and the relationship with Jesus, my body just started, I just started crying. And there was this unconditional, but it was just such a nurturing love, a mother's love for a child. And so that Mother Mary, and then I started being curious, and then there was Mary Magdalene. And Mary Magdalene came into my whole world when I was very interested in understanding the healing dynamics of divine feminine, divine masculine, touch, sensuality. And many people's, I found, weren't curious about Tantra as a healing modality. They thought of it as a dirty sex thing. And then studying Tantra, where it really is that honoring of the divine feminine, where there's a healing, soothing, and then there's the yang, which is, again, an energetic, like a mountaintop. There's a masculinity in that energy, and understanding that we have both, and that they're in flow or out of flow. And so that's been my relationship with Mary, as my mother's name is Mary. There was Mother Mary. There was Mary Magdalene. And so when I met Mary's, it was like, and then, of course, the movie made me laugh, of Something About Mary, which, again, it's been a fascinating. When I do meet a Maria, for instance, I'm kind of going, okay, what's the deeper meaning here? And that's an awakening with a name, awakening with seeing and exploring the speciality when I'm face to face with somebody. And I believe that's the multitaskingness of a woman, of feminine energy. And it's been an awe experience for me, because I made a decision very young as a business person, is if I ever had a business, I was going to attract a woman to run the business. And I instilled that in most of my businesses in Singapore, is that I would often look for a COO that could start off as an executive assistant, yet could grow into a COO or a CEO of a business. So I've been doing that for about 30 years.
Well, we certainly did that in our business.
Mm. Yeah. Well, again, there's, and again, right now, even my investing, I look for the companies in the Fortune 500 who are run by women. And I did that. That's one of the reasons why I invested in PepsiCo about 15 years ago, is that Indrid Nooyi was phenomenal. And I've just recently invested in AMD. It's run by a lady, Lisa Liu. And I like that intelligence and also that compassion combined as a package for leadership. And when I think of International Women's Day, there's a evolving leadership style that for me is compassionate leadership. And that tends to be a heart-led dynamic. And I think you experienced with in Bali when we had a conundrum. You can't think your way out of a conundrum. You have to feel your way through a conundrum. And I think that's what it gives me goosebumps just to say that, yet that's where I am right now. It's like you can throw problems at situations and I can react. Like I can be my reptilian Dave. He can come out anytime, like anger, rage, all that. It can come out. Yet I can also, through breath and smiling and giggling and noticing the reptile, he can kind of go into equanimity if he chooses.
Well, the thing is we both have the masculine and the feminine, and it has nothing to do with what you're wearing or anything like that. I remember years and years ago hearing that, you're more masculine and feminine, and going like, what do you mean I'm more masculine than feminine? Like I feel like a female. I don't feel like a man, but I have to take on these personas, or I do take on these personas, but it doesn't mean that I'm like feel manly like that. And then when it was explained, it was like, oh, okay. Isn't that interesting? And I definitely have a lot of masculinity. Absolutely. I've needed to have that. And that has helped me survive through a number of situations. And actually, even though I feel very female, but I needed to work on the femininity and that side, the caring and all of that kindness. And I'm more like, okay, let's just get her done. How do we do it? Okay, whatever. Feeling very female, but that's masculine trait. Those are masculine traits, right?
And I found it easier, and even right now when I hear it, like I agree. It's funny. I find using the term yin and yang to be almost more for flow for me. Yes.
Bing, 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 bing,
Very good call.
Where's your bell? Where's your alarm?
Go for it.
Okay, the question is, reflecting back on the people that have been on the show recently. So Veronica, Heidi, Gary, Charlotte. Insights, thoughts about any of those people? What resonates in this moment when you see these pictures? Who's jumping out from
Actually,
something?
a number of them are, yet there's a commonality. Mm-hmm. And that commonality is gift of presence. Mm. Each of them in their way have experienced and can share from a perspective of being present. And so when we have an artist, when we have a hypnotherapist, when we have a writer, and of course, when we have our martial artist, there is a sense of presence. The one who's been coming most into my energetic field is the pastor.
Heidi.
Because the relationship I had with asking her the question about grief and even using the word shift your belief about grief, she really energized around, I'm not, she had a relationship with shift. And I found that fascinating, given that I put quite a bit of energy in working in a model called Shift Your Belief About Grief. And her experience with it was beautiful because it gave me such an energetic massage. And so each of them has been amazing in celebrating the magic of the moment. And so let's flip it back to you now. What has been an aha moment or a reflective, magical moment from the guests that we've had this year so far?
Well, what I'm going to say, each of these people came into my life at interesting times. That's the first thing. So I'm going to go with the word magical. And what stands out with the word magical, again, I'm going to go to Heidi, because what stands out that I think is so enlightening, it's almost overwhelming in a sense. So this is somebody who is in a pretty black and white kind of fellowship, community, church, pretty, the way that the teachings are. And yet when I met her, she is so expansive. She just takes up all the space and kindness and acceptance. And there's something about the way she pauses, and it's like a download, and then she speaks. There's this calmness, and she's just magical that way. And I think because she doesn't fit in a box, right? The same thing with Veronica, 8-time Canadian champion. She didn't fit in a box. She came from a country when she was 16 years old, and now she walks. She doesn't have to do it. She could just contribute money, but she walks to Niagara Falls because that's what she believes in, and she's making a statement. And if you could have seen Veronica doing that the last time, she was in incredible pain, and yet she did that, and she made that happen. She's that magical presence. Gary, perseverance. I've just seen him inch along, and now finally he's in something that's, I think, is going to really take off and open up a lot of people's interpretation of what reality is. And it's just magical. He just keeps showing up in my life. And Charlotte, the magic that she brings is just the creativity. I'm just a creative mind, and she's such a creator and just so passionate. And we're going to be connected, in the book that she's doing. I posted that a week or so ago. She asked me, after being on the show, we talked and talked, and then we talked and talked. She went and she stalked me all over the place, and she came back and she said, "Oh my God, all the things you've done. Oh my God." And then we got talking again. And then the next thing, she's asking me to be in the book, and she'll be doing that portrait. I can't wait to see that. That's just blown away. So that's just a magical moment of meeting somebody online in a chat forum, and hello. And all of a sudden, you're connected. So they all shared something really magical to me, and they're all just amazing people.
Brilliant. And anyone who wants to add in a comment about magic in your life, please do so. I'd love to hear what's occurring in your relationships or your career or your spiritual pursuits, your studying. That's all wonderful feedback that Deb and I definitely appreciate too.
Yes, for sure. We love it with even just your little comments, anything at all. We really like that. We know some people are watching. We would love to have a huge audience, but the people that do watch religiously, and then the people that watch afterwards, it's always fun to see the comments. I mean, I think we would just talk and have these people on anyways, because it's fun to do the interviews, but it's so much more fun when people are engaged and ask questions. So what's the current project that you're working on now, Dave?
Current project? Well, I've been really engaged in the markets lately, to be very honest with you. It's been a big part of my March. I've been enjoying studying and trading and investing and studying ways to connect, to express, to write. And that's where I'm at right now. It's been very clearly laid out to me, is to plan the year, yet plan it in such a way that I'm able to adapt and adjust. I'm actually, to be very honest with you, we're still attempting to do a debrief from our Global Day of Love and Oneness, which occurred on February 14th. And there's really been an effort to get a full, because we had over 100 performers. We had 5 schools. We did 18 countries. And the attempt to do the debrief has had a few little hiccups. And that's something that I would like to bring it to completion. And perhaps there's a little bit of something that's stopping it from coming to completion. And I'm pondering it. And I am looking at a next project for May, yet that's unfolding because I am looking at what events are in May. It's likely to be something around planting, whether it's going to be gardens with the elderly or trees. So there will be an element of Mother Earth. And it's might appear tomorrow because I'm going to be doing some nature work tomorrow. And we will be very present to see what is going to unfold. Yet I am being asked to guide and to direct it also. And that's the fun of it right now, because I truly am living in this moment. I'm celebrating a year that my father almost died.
Oh,
and
wow.
He broke his femur last year. We went through the rehabilitation together. We went through a lot of ups and downs. It is an experience when your father yells at you and tells you that they just want to die. And I was involved very much in the daily experience of service, yet finding it incredibly present and passionate, yet compassionate with patience and curiosity. And in a week, that will be that celebration that he's still alive. And I was wondering a way to create a little video because he's had an amazing year. He's become kinder. He's become more complimentary to my mother. He is laughing. And so he's had an amazing year. And my mom will be 81. And today we were joking around. They're both going to get their shots on her birthday. They'll go get their COVID shots.
Oh, really?
And so there's that element that the gift of being with them is one thing, that I'm not in a hurry to run out and start my next multi-million-dollar business, whatever. It's very much day by day is such a delightful pleasure. And I don't know if you've ever used the term, it's a hoot, but it really is a hoot.
Do you know what? We're almost the same age. I think I'm a little bit older than you. And to have both of your parents, first of all, they've been together forever. And second, they're both alive. And that is something to be honored and treasured. Like, you're so fortunate, and it's a hoot that you end up back at home with them and spending that quality time with them. And hey, Deb, bring over Sage, for an hour or two, and you and your mom, and spending time with him. That is truly precious. I can't believe it's been a year. It's already that happened.
Yes, and that's something that there's a celebration there and an awareness. And one of my dearest friends comes over occasionally to have a chat, and he just said, your dad's been through a stroke. He's been through 2 open heart surgeries. He's broken his femur. He's a smoker. He doesn't exercise. And he just passed 80, and they celebrated their 60th anniversary. And yes.
Yeah, and no way, shape, or form is Pray Love promoting any of those behaviors. That's great. Yeah, the first thing that you had said, first of all, the fact that he's gone through all this, and then you talk about the shift, right? Something truly shift, the essence of the man, and that he is being kinder. And that must be really nice to see and to witness that and see that for your mom. I don't know what he was like previously, but just the fact that you say that, it must be really nice to have that time, share that time with that.
Well, I attempt to find humor in it because so he had the stroke, so he doesn't speak very clearly. So if I do go out with him and he's misunderstood, of course he gets to anger and frustration and lashes out. Even occasionally with me, he might make a joke that you don't speak English. Okay, and so his language is a little wobbly. My mom's hearing's a little wobbly, and so I basically say I don't see very well. So we really are speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil, and we are a couple of like three monkeys. And I try to make that joke. Yeah, sometimes goes over well, and sometimes it doesn't.
I'm sure. Another thing that you had said, actually, in response to the question, you said that you were involved in the markets, right? And this is something that we've, not on Pray Love, but elsewhere, we have talked about the markets. And I have to tell you, so you mentioned a couple stocks, and again, we're not promoting anything at all here. We're just having a conversation. And there were a couple that you said, you use them. If you use them, why not, own them to some degree? If you're paying a monthly fee, for example, at a bank, well, why not get some stock and own the bank? And then maybe that'll cover,
It will. The dividends will cover your bank fees.
Yeah. So I did. And then also you mentioned also about, we all have oil in our homes. So what is the company that you want to go with? Again, I don't want to promote a company, but I did. And I got my first drip, Dave.
Congratulations.
So a drip is, so you can either, you get a dividend, the monetary amount comes into your bank account, or you just put it into a system. And I can explain this just for people who don't know what the heck it is. You just put a drip on. So then rather than getting the money, then you get another stock. So it went from, I don't know if it was 50, maybe
about 52 or 53.
And I got 51 and it dropped and it was like, oh,
exactly.
Right. And what that does is then it spreads out and then it decreases the cost of the stocks, right, Dave?
I think what you're doing, that's financial literacy, and that is something I will promote, because financial literacy is something that I wish and I intend that it's taught in schools, because yes. Imagine giving our kids the tools so that they can invest in themselves and in their financial literacy. And so something like what you just explained, a dividend reinvestment plan, it allows you to buy potentially stocks or invest in stocks that pay you a regular quarterly, monthly, annual type of dividend, which it's a beautiful thing that if you are getting paid 5% from your bank instead of always paying your bank interest for the loans you're taking out. So that's a little bit about financial literacy, cash flow. And these are topics that I really would love to be part of sharing. So if anyone wants to talk more about that, I'm happy to. In fact, that's one of the things that Bill and I wanted to do. And a big part, you're always welcome also, Deb, because you've been sharing and also caring about your financial literacy. And that's something that we're in our mid-50s and we're still studying it, because there's lots to study. There's lots to learn. And our relationship with money, our relationship with relationships, and our relationship with our sensuality are major topics of mind, body, spirit. And so it really does beautifully intertwine for Pray Love also. Mm-hmm. At least
go ahead.
For my reality, that's just so important, because I see the biggest conflicts that people tend to have are about money, about relationships, about sexuality. And so Pray Love is to rise above it, notice where some of the dynamics or dramas are, and then learn, release, uplift.
We had so way back when Pray Love was the podcast and Holly was the co-host, we had on a lady who's in her 80s now, Joan, and she talks all about the relationship with money. Maybe it's time that she'll come on again, I know, if I ask her, and we'll have an evening of talking about finances from different perspectives. Because listen, I was taught very early the importance of money and saving money and honoring the money. And like 11 years old, I was working. I had to earn money. If I wanted things, I had to earn the money, whether that was babysitting, delivering papers, picking cherries, whatever it was. But the education that I didn't get around holding on to the money and investing it specifically into something like stocks. So you hear, your RSPs and the standard things and what's a GIC and all that kind of stuff, right? The basics. But basically what I was doing is, for that type of money, those investments, is handing that over to somebody else. And then I don't even know what they're doing. And where is it? So it'll be 2 years ago this summer when a good friend of mine, Terry, she's been following the stocks like crazy over the last 10 years. And she kept saying, Deb, wake up, Deb. And so finally I jumped in, and I actually really enjoyed it. But the volatility over like the last year in some areas, it's been crazy. But I think it is so important. And I think it should be in school. That's way more important to me than things. Listen, prove that's a square and that's a rectangle. Like, if you can't see that yourself, I don't need to do the friggin' measurements. That's your problem. I said that to a teacher in grade 10. Whoops. Yeah. I don't know where that came out of. I corrected myself right away.
That was your rules and boxes.
A plus B minus, and I'm going, she said, you have to prove. And she's like at me, and I'm like embarrassed because I'm being put on the spot. And I'm like, if you don't know that that's a rectangle, that's your problem. But as soon as I said it, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said it. But anyway.
What fun projects have you got up or designing or looking to explore in the next couple of months? Care to share today, or do you want to continue to allow it to mature and percolate?
Well, but pretty much I mentioned it. So the project has been on increasing my education in terms of the psychotherapy. You mentioned grief. We can talk about these different components, but I'm really taking the deep dive and getting certification because it does matter. When I was doing more coaching and that type of thing, facilitating, you can have a certain amount of knowledge, but when you're working with people and they're actually coming to you and they're paying you, to me, there's a responsibility to learn more, to continually grow, and to be certified. That's just something that I think is really a necessity. And I love to learn. So that has been a project. I'm into the third course this year. And the other thing is the music. Pick up the guitar and write. That's the project. Pick up the guitar. Those have been the two main things that I have been doing. And I am thinking, Dave, I don't know how much walking you're doing, but maybe we are going to have to, Veronica here, let's put Veronica up again. When she does the walk this year, I am walking so much every day that I think I'm going to connect with her. I'm not going to walk for 4 days because I don't think that's healthy in a sense, unless you're walking an awful lot. But to join her and support her for 1 day on the walk.
How many steps are you doing? Are you measuring, or do you have your speedometer or pedometer? Or
no, because that goes against the belief that I have. I don't believe in having that on my body. Right? Those waves, I don't want that on my body. What I do is I measure by time, and I'm walking probably up to an hour and a half a day, like early, every 3 hours. And unless I have, really dense day, back-to-back clients, then it's a shorter walk. But I'm going out and I'm finding I'm getting more done. Go out, do the walk, get fresh air, come back, focus. And I know I have these pockets of time, and I know how long he will sleep in that little ball. And I know when he's going to get up and he's going to want to play. So I'm really treasuring that time, those times, but they're it's very structured and it's all around him. But I'm doing a lot more walking. I've walked more in 5 months with him than I walked in 18 years with Offside. That's the other Yorkie. I've never walked so much in my entire life.
Wow, it's very cool. I loved the walk when I had when I took that job. It was like doing 25,000 to 30,000 steps a night, and it was just hilarious. And it was just so healthy. There's no doubt. And these days, I will go to the mall with probably my mom to do some walking and put in 4,000 or 5,000 steps, and sort of let her go do her shopping while I go walk around the mall.
That's so funny. But you know, the one thing I noticed, so I'm pretty fit, and I've been pretty fit for a very long time, and I'm cycling. I cycled every day in January, I think 16 days in February, and it's 7 days. Like, I mean, I'm cycling a lot, but with the extra walking, you know, when I put on socks, if Sage is in the room, I have to hold my knee up this high. Otherwise, he's going to grab that sock. Right. So I'm doing all this extra lift. What I found is I'm pretty darn strong. And that walking has made a difference. It really has. Because it's, you know, different muscles. Cycling, it's pretty consistent.
You've inspired me to go for a walk right after this call. Thank you. And it's great temperature to do it. So I definitely will do that.
Yeah. We in Toronto, it was between 6 and 8 today. It was the first day I actually went out without a hat and without gloves. I cycled with open gloves today for the first time this year.
Beautiful. What would be some tips for people that, as we bring up 2 or 3 minutes left, what would be, again, as the spring is coming, and what are some great exercise routines or suggestions or recommendations that you might have for people?
Do you know what? People are spending so much time inside. It's just to go outside. And I say this to clients all the time, that, you know, they're struggling. They don't have the energy to get out. I say, just go and open up your door. Go stand on the porch. Just little things like that. Just squat a few times during the day, just here and there. Just do some squats. Just do some stretch. Just stretch up. Just put your arms up. Look up. Everybody's looking down at the phone all the time. Look up, you know, and, you know, I can't do it in the room. Like, just put your arms out like this or behind, and just turn a few times during the day. You know, maybe you're doing the dishes, or just twist to the side. Again, if you have back injuries, you know, again, see your doctor before you engage in any exercises that I ever say, right? But it's the little things that matter. When you're sitting down, when I'm with clients, I lift my knees up, flex my ankles, go for a walk, go for a bike ride, get some fresh air. The fresh air through your system activates let's get some serotonin going here. Let's get some dopamine firing. Let's get some chemicals in your body going. Get excited about movement. And you, Dave?
I think what you just shared is absolutely fantastic. I'm a big fan of movement, and I love my yoga. Yet what you're suggesting, get out and reestablish that relationship with nature, and a little bit of walking around the park, and start going. Like, I've been ice skating for the last little while also as an experiment, and it's just been fun. It might only be for 5 minutes, but it would just be woo. But that's awaken the body, move the body, and do it in a nice, caring, nurturing way. Yet you are a new beginning for 2021. It's a whole new world for us to explore, and I think that's part of the new eyes for 2021 that I'm exploring for myself, and invite people to explore.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, and that's the thing. Every day is a new day. People say, "Well, I was going to do it every day, didn't do it," and then they stop. Just every day, the mind, body, spirit connection is so critical. It's so important. You can't feel overall well if you're lacking in one of those areas, and just a little something every day to nurture that. And that's why we do this show, Dave, right? It's just this mind, body, spirit connection, and just doing a little something that maybe serves somebody, whether it's the people coming on or the people listening or ourselves. It's so important to push ourselves a little bit out of our comfort zone sometimes. And if exercise is what is pushing you out of your comfort zone, go ahead and do it. Okay. I get on a different topic here. So thank you so much for watching us on Pray Love this evening. We really, truly appreciate your participation. Dave?
Thank you.
Thank you so
Namaste.
much.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Love is all is love is all love is all